Hi, everyone. So, last time I uploaded a file, I was going to be coming back on the 18th. I do apologize for the delay. There has been a few developments since, and I just want to touch base on a couple of them before I continue telling the story in full. So, in between now and then, um, speaking with Ian Scarth and Jessica Hershey, who is the counsel for both the Manitoba College of Social Workers and their affiliated panel. Um, the hearing is scheduled to go ahead for December 6th, 2024. Now, because of the letter from the Attorney General of Canada, initially I was under the impression that this was going to be cancelled out. Um, Now, seeing that that hasn't happened, I went down to my MP's office. Why did I go down to my MP's office? Because I just can't walk into the Attorney General of Canada's office. First of all, I'm not even sure where it is. It's not anywhere local at any rate. Second of all, um, it was easier for me to go to the MP's office and talk to them directly. So I went down there and I spoke with somebody, and I was instructed to go to Bernadette, or I guess I should say the Honorable Bernadette Smith, who is the Minister of Housing, Addictions, and Homelessness in Manitoba. Now, from my understanding, from what the MP's office told me, is she is also in charge of the social service area in Manitoba. So, seeing that this whole thing falls under her platform, I wrote to her and I asked for her assistance. Now, I haven't heard anything back yet. I also wrote to the Premier of Manitoba, and again, I haven't heard anything back yet. Um, Now, that being said, I just want to briefly touch on the email I received today. And why am I doing this out of order? It is to try to escalate things so that the minister, or the Honorable Bernadette Smith and Premier Wapkanu can take a look at this and actually see how so many violations are happening. Okay, so here Ian Scarth is writing to me, and he says, Miss Mayaska, Miss Hershey, further the matter, as counsel to the panel, I have directed your respective correspondence to the panel, and they have considered the following. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. Whether the panel will continue with this matter in light of Ms. Mayaska's comments that her constitutional rights under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms are being attacked by the college. Now, the college's whole argument is based on the fact that I spoke out when my daughter was in hospital and I could not gain access to her. They they are trying to take the approach that I should not have gone public with this information, and that it was a violation of professional conduct for me to have done so. But I disagree with that. Okay, first of all, federal law supersedes provincial law, right? Never mind the fact that so our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms that is protected under the federal Constitution of Rights. Sorry, I said that wrong. Um, our our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which includes our freedom to speech and access to media, is protected under the Canadian Constitution, sorry, is protected under the Canadian Constitution. And the Canadian Constitution is a federal act. It is federal law, right? It is what our country is based on. Now, then you have the Manitoba um, Professional Social Workers Act, which is a provincial law. So the federal law should supersede the provincial law. Never mind the fact that the provincial law in this instance shouldn't even apply because it didn't involve an employer, a, a work colleague, a work acquaintance, or a client. So there was no work affiliation whatsoever in regards to this matter. What is happening here is not me being penalized for professional misconduct. What is happening here, I believe, is political prosecution. And we'll get into that in later videos, and I'll prove why I'll explain why I'm saying that and why I'm thinking that. Okay, so he continues on to say whether the panel misinterpreted the college argument and submission in respects to charge 4 and should reconsider this point. Now, it's interesting because the college had wrote to the panel and said that, they felt that the panel misinterpreted their point, and that what the panel is saying should happen is in excess of what they feel should happen. And I agree with them. So we've got two parties who essentially are saying, you're persecuting this person, charging this person for something that was taken out of context, and the panel saying, well, no, it wasn't taken out of context at all, even though the call, like, the panel is supposed to be like a jury, right? And then you've got the two parties. There's myself and the college, right? So the college is saying, no, you did, the panel, the juror didn't understand what we were trying to get across. Myself, I'm like, no, obviously the panel didn't get what the college was trying to say or what I'm trying to say. And the panel's saying, nope, we're just going to proceed like everything's okay. So I mean, right there, that shows bias from the panel. It shows that the panel is biased, and it shows that this hearing is not fair. It is a literal I'm literally being prosecuted without due process or really any sort of fairness whatsoever. And I know I'm saying this horribly, and I'll get to it. I'll explain it better in later videos. But in response to point 1, the panel will proceed with this matter as scheduled in hearing on the issues of penalty and costs arising from reasons for decision issued by panel. In response to point 2, the panel reviewed the email from Ms. Hershey, the written submission and affidavit of Barbara Tenmerman, sworn October 23rd, 2024. However, the panel will not be reconsidering the reason for decision issued by the panel. The panel reminds the parties that, pursuant to Act, should they disagree with the panel's determination, they may explore any right to appeal set out in the Act. Finally, with regards to submission on penalty and costs arising from reason for decision, the panel has directed that a hearing be scheduled for Friday, December 6, 2024, starting at 1:30 at the College of Social Workers, 2033 Portage Avenue, Winnipeg, Manitoba. In advance of the hearing, the following timelines for filing written submissions have been set. The college is to provide its written submission on costs by email to Ms. Garth and Ms. Miazga by 5 p.m. on Friday, November 22nd, 2024, which is actually today. Ms. Miazga is to provide her written submission on cost by email to Ms. Garth and Ms. Hershey by 5 o'clock on Friday, November 29, 2024. In the event that one of these parties wishes to attend the hearing by video conference, the panel has determined that the video conference attendance will be subject to the following conditions. The party's video camera and audio must be operational and remain on unless the hearing is in recess. They know that I don't have video. They know I don't have access to a video. If the party's video feed is turned off, the panel may proceed as if the party has not attended. So basically, if I don't have working equipment, which is a huge cost to me, then they're going to proceed as if I'm not even there. That the party must be in a private setting or identified whether other visual individuals are present with the party, and the hearing must not be recorded except in accordance with the act. Okay, so that brings us to um, Jessica Hershey's. Um, that brings us to Jessica Hershey's. Uh, the document that she was supposed to file in regards to costs, and I'll be uploading that very shortly. This is part one of probably very many today.